After my parents paid off my brother's $50,000 gambling debts with my college fund, they laughed and said, "You don't need a degree anyway." I took a job offered by the most unlikely ally, and then the tables turned. The acceptance letter trembled in my hands as tears blurred the words "full academic scholarship." I'd done it. 4 years of straight A's, countless all-nighters, and sacrificing my social life had finally paid off. Stanford University wanted me. Me, Willow from small-town Pennsylvania, the girl everyone said would never amount to anything special. Mom, Dad, I raced downstairs, nearly tripping over my own feet. I got in. I actually got in. The kitchen fell silent. Mom and Dad exchanged that look, the one that made my stomach drop. Travis, my older brother, sat at the table, head buried in his hands. "Honey, sit down," Mom said, her voice unnaturally gentle. "We need to talk." I clutched the letter tighter. "What's wrong?" Dad couldn't meet my eyes. "Your college fund, it's gone." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What do you mean, gone?" "Travis needed help," Mom explained, placing her hand on my brother's shoulder. "He got into some trouble with some dangerous people. We had to use the money to pay off his gambling debts," I finished, my voice hollow. Again, Travis finally looked up, his eyes red. "I'm sorry, Will. I'll pay you back, I swear." "You said that last time," I whispered. "And the time before that." "This is different," Mom insisted. "Your brother could have been seriously hurt." "We had no choice." I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "No choice? What about my choices, my future?" "Don't be dramatic," Dad said, finding his voice. "Community college is still an option. Or you could work for a few years, save up, save up." I threw the acceptance letter onto the table. "Do you have any idea how much Stanford costs?" "The scholarship only covers part of it." "That fund was everything I had." "Willow," Mom's tone turned stern. "Family comes first. Travis needed us. And I don't," my voice cracked. "I've never asked for anything. I worked my ass off while you threw money at Travis's mistakes over and over." "Watch your tone, young lady," Dad warned. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a welcome interruption. "Unknown number." "Hello," I answered, turning away from my family. "Is this Willow Norton?" "This is Margaret from Mills & Associates Law Firm. We received your application for the receptionist position." I'd applied weeks ago, desperate for summer work. Now it felt like a lifeline. "Yes, this is she. Could you come in for an interview tomorrow at 9 a.m.? "Absolutely," I said, my mind racing. "I'll be there." I hung up and faced my family again. Travis had disappeared, probably to hide in his room like he always did when things got tough. Mom was already making excuses for him, Dad nodding along. "I have a job interview tomorrow," I announced. "That's nice, dear," Mom said dismissively. "Now about Travis." "No," I cut her off. "I'm done talking about Travis. I'm done with all of this." I stormed upstairs to my room, pulling out my suitcase. Through my tears I began packing, my movements mechanical. A soft knock at my door made me freeze. "Go away." The door opened anyway. Sylvia, my best friend from next door, stood there. She must have heard everything through her bedroom window again. "I brought ice cream," she said, holding up a pint and 2 spoons. "Want to talk about it?" I sank onto my bed. "They took everything, Syl, everything I worked for." She sat beside me, handed me a spoon. "So what are you going to do about it?" "I got a job interview at Mills & Associates." "The law firm?" Sylvia's eyes widened. "That's huge. It's just a receptionist position." "It's a foot in the door," she corrected. "And you're the smartest person I know. You'll work your way up." I stabbed my spoon into the ice cream. "They don't think I can do anything. Did you hear them? Community college is still an option." I mimicked Dad's condescending tone. "Then prove them wrong," Sylvia said simply. "Show them exactly what you can do." I looked at her, really looked at her, and something shifted inside me. The tears dried up, the helplessness transformed into determination. "You're right," I said slowly. "I'm done being the good daughter they can ignore. Done watching Travis destroy everything while they clean up his messes." "What are you going to do?" I smiled, and it wasn't entirely nice. "I'm going to become someone they can't ignore, someone with real power." I glanced at my Stanford letter, now crumpled on the floor. "They think law school is out of reach? Fine, I'll learn law from the ground up instead." Sylvia grinned. "Now that sounds like a plan." I took another bite of ice cream, my mind already racing ahead. Tomorrow I'd walk into that law firm and start my new life. And someday when my family needed help again, because they always did, they'd find out exactly who I'd become. Reception. "This is Willow speaking. How may I direct your call?" I balanced the phone between my ear and shoulder while sorting through a stack of documents. 3 months into my job at Mills & Associates, and I'd already memorized every partner's schedule, client preference, and filing system. "Hey, new girl," a friendly voice called out. I looked up to see Tobias, Mr. Mills's son, leaning against my desk. He pointed at my coffee cup. "That's stone cold. Want a fresh one?" "Thanks, but I can't leave the desk right now. Mr. Mills needs these briefs sorted before the Thompson meeting." "I know." He grinned. "I'll watch the phones for 5 minutes. Go get yourself some caffeine." I hesitated, then grabbed my cup. The break room was mercifully empty, but as I reached for the coffee pot, I heard voices from the partners' lounge next door. "That new receptionist," Mr. Mills was saying. "She's something else." "The young one? Willow?" Another voice. "Mr. Parker," I thought. "What about her?" "She reorganized our entire filing system last week, found 3 missing depositions that could have cost us the Riverside case, and she's been studying the briefs in her spare time." "A receptionist who actually reads the briefs?" Mr. Parker chuckled. "That's a first. She's wasted at that desk, Jacob. I'm thinking of moving her to paralegal." My hand froze on the coffee pot. "Paralegal? After just 3 months? Eavesdropping?" A woman's voice made me jump. I spun around to face a tall, elegant black woman in a crisp suit. I'm Sylvia, new associate attorney, and you're Willow, right? The super receptionist everyone's talking about? I stammered. She laughed. Relax. I do my best intel gathering by the coffee machine too. She filled her own cup. Word is you're gunning for more than just answering phones. I want to learn everything I can, I admitted. Law school isn't an option right now, but there's more than one way to climb a mountain. She nodded approvingly. Smart girl. Want some free advice? Always take a paralegal certification course online nights. When they offer you the position, and they will, you'll be ready. I smiled. I started the course 2 weeks ago. Even smarter than I thought. She handed me a business card. I like you, Willow. Let's do lunch sometime. Back at my desk, Tobias was struggling with the phones. 3 lines at once, he complained. How do you do this? Practice, I said, smoothly taking over, and a really good memory. Speaking of memory, he lowered his voice. Your brother called while you were gone, said it was urgent. My smile vanished. Did he leave a message? Just asked you to call home. Thanks. I wouldn't be calling back. Later that evening, as I was preparing to leave, my cell phone rang. Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail, but she called right back. What? I answered sharply. Don't take that tone with me, she snapped. We haven't heard from you in weeks. Travis needs. I'm at work, Mom. I can't talk. Work? That receptionist job? Honey, you need to think about your future. Your father knows someone at the bank who could. I have to go. I hung up, hands shaking. Family trouble? I jumped. Mr. Mills stood behind me, coat in hand. I'm sorry, sir. I don't usually take personal calls at work. Willow, he said kindly, I've been watching you. You're first in, last out. You study every document that crosses your desk. You've learned our filing system better than people who've been here for years. I straightened my shoulders. I want to learn everything I can, sir. Why? Because knowledge is power, I said without thinking, then blushed. No, you're exactly right. He smiled. How would you like to move up to paralegal? We'll adjust your schedule so you can finish your certification. My heart raced. I'd love that opportunity, sir. Good. And Willow? He paused at the door. Whatever's going on with your family, don't let it distract you. I see real potential in you. After he left, I sat at my desk, staring at my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom, 2 from Travis. Let them call. Let them need me. I opened my laptop and pulled up my paralegal coursework. Every hour studying was another step away from being that helpless girl whose dreams they'd stolen. Another step toward becoming someone with real power. Knowledge is power, I whispered to myself and began to read. 4 years flew by like pages in a windstorm. I stood in front of my office mirror, adjusting my new designer blazer, a gift to myself for making junior partner at 31. The brass nameplate on my desk still gave me a thrill. Willow Norton partner. A knock at my door interrupted my moment of pride. Come in, Sylvia breezed in, now head of corporate law. Ready for the Henderson meeting? It's going to be brutal. When isn't it? I grabbed my tablet. Did you see their latest counteroffer? Insulting is what it was. She paused, studying my face. You okay? You look tired. Travis called last night, first time in 2 years. She sat on the edge of my desk. What did baby brother want? Didn't answer, but he left 6 voicemails, each more desperate than the last. Show me your game face, Sylvia demanded. I straightened my spine, lifted my chin, and let my expression cool into what Tobias called my shark smile. Better? Perfect. Now let's go eat some CEOs for breakfast. The Henderson meeting was exactly as brutal as predicted, but I'd learned from the best. 4 hours later, I had them exactly where I wanted them. So we're agreed, I said, sliding the contract across the table. 20 million plus restructuring terms. This is highway robbery, Henderson growled. No. I smiled my shock smile. This is business. Sign or we'll see you in court. They signed. Back in my office, I finally checked my voicemails. Travis's voice increasingly panicked. Will, please. I really need to talk to you. It's bad this time. Really bad. They're going to take the house, Will. Mom and Dad's house. Please call me back. I don't know what to do. They're giving us 30 days. Willow, please. I'm begging you. I was still staring at my phone when Tobias walked in. Earth to Willow. Dad's looking for you. Sorry. I gestured at the phone. Family stuff? He perched on my desk, our old familiar positions reversed now that I had the corner office. Want to talk about it? Not much to say. They made their choices. I made mine. Yeah, but they're still family. I shot him a look. Easy to say when your family supported your dreams instead of stealing them. Fair point. He stood. Anyway, Dad wants to see you about the Martinez case. And Will? He paused at the door. Whatever you decide, I've got your back. Mr. Mills was waiting in his office, looking exactly as he had the day he hired me, just a little gray at the temples. Sit down, Willow. Tell me about Henderson. Signed and delivered 20 million plus all our terms. Excellent. He leaned back. You've come a long way from that receptionist desk. Thanks to you, sir. No, he shook his head. Thanks to you, your drive, your determination. I just opened the door. You walked through it. My phone buzzed again. Travis. Problem? Mr. Mills asked. No, sir. Just family. When I nodded, he continued. I've never asked about them. Seemed like a sore subject. They made some choices I couldn't forgive. He studied me. And now they need your help? I looked up, startled. How did you 30 years in law, Willow? I know that look. He paused. Want some advice? Always, sir? Sometimes the best revenge isn't punishment, it's success. He smiled. You've proven yourself. Maybe it's time to show them exactly who you've become. Back in my office, I pulled up the county records database. Sure enough, there it was, a foreclosure notice on my parents' house. They were underwater on the mortgage, months behind on payments. My phone rang again, Mom this time. Willow? Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Please don't hang up. What do you want, Mom? We need help. The bank? They're going to take the house. Travis tried everything, but what? His gambling buddies won't loan him more money. That's not fair, she protested weakly. No, I laughed. What's not fair is stealing your daughter's future to enable your son's addiction. What's not fair is I stopped, took a breath. You know what? Never mind, I'll help. You will? The relief in her voice was painful. Yes, but we'll do this my way. All of you come to my office tomorrow at 2 p.m. Your office? Mills & Associates, 23rd floor. Don't be late. I hung up and stared out my window at the city below. Mr. Mills was right. I'd proven myself. Now it was time to show my family exactly who they'd underestimated. Let them come to my territory. Let them see my name on the door, my view from the top. Let them finally see me. At 1:55 p.m., my assistant buzzed. Your family is here. Give me 2 minutes, then send them in. I stood behind my desk, smoothing my skirt. The wall of legal degrees and awards behind me felt like armor. The door opened. Mom entered first, looking smaller than I remembered, followed by Dad, who'd gone completely gray. Travis shuffled in last, unable to meet my eyes. Have a seat. I gestured to the chairs facing my desk. Willow, Mom started. This is quite an office. Partner perks. I sat down. So tell me about the foreclosure. They exchanged glances. Travis cleared his throat. It's my fault. I borrowed against the house to cover some debts. Promised I'd pay it back, but you gambled that money away too? I finished, my voice ice cold. It wasn't like that, Mom jumped in. He was trying to invest. In what, Mom? Poker? Horses? Or has he graduated to sports betting? Now listen here. Dad finally spoke up. We didn't come for a lecture. No, you came for money. I opened a folder on my desk. The house is worth $320,000. You owe 425,000 tons, thanks to multiple home equity loans. You're 4 months behind on payments, and the bank has initiated foreclosure proceedings. How did you? Travis started. I'm a lawyer, Travis. Finding information is what I do. I leaned forward. Here's what I don't understand. Where did all that equity go? The house was paid off when I left for college. Silence. That's what I thought. I stood up, walking to my window. You know what's interesting? I pulled Travis's credit report. 7 maxed out credit cards, 3 personal loans, and somehow, he still has a gambling account with weekly deposits. You had no right. Travis jumped up. Sit down. My voice cracked like a whip. He sat. I have every right. You're asking me for help? This is how I help, by finding the truth. Please, Mom whispered. We'll lose everything. Like I lost everything? I turned to face them. Like when you stole my college fund. That was different, Dad protested weakly. You're right. It was different because I didn't gamble it away. I didn't throw it down a hole of addiction and lies. I returned to my desk. But here's what I'm offering. I pulled out a contract. I'll buy the house, pay off the mortgage, clear the debt, but there are conditions. What conditions? Travis asked suspiciously. First, Travis gets help. Real help. I've already arranged a spot at a rehabilitation facility. 6 months minimum. 6 months, he exploded. I can't. You can and you will. Second, I continued over his protests. Mom and Dad can stay in the house, but the deed will be in my name. And third, every penny Travis earns after rehab goes toward paying me back. That's blackmail, Mom stammered. No, that's consequences. Something this family never learned about. The door opened, and Sylvia walked in right on cue. Sorry to interrupt. Are these the contracts for the house purchase? Perfect timing, I smiled. Mom, Dad, this is Sylvia Reynolds, head of corporate law. She'll be handling the paperwork. You planned all this? Travis accused. Of course I did. That's what successful people do, Travis. They plan. They don't gamble their family's future away. Dad stood up suddenly. We need time to think about this. You have 24 hours, I said. After that the offer expires, and good luck finding another solution in time to stop the foreclosure. Come on. Mom tugged at Travis's arm. Let's go. At the door, Travis paused. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Making us beg? No, Travis. I'm not enjoying this at all. I met his eyes. But someone has to stop this cycle. It might as well be me. After they left, Sylvia perched on my desk. Well, that was intense. Did I go too far? Are you kidding? That was masterful. Ice cold but masterful. She studied my face. You okay? Ask me tomorrow. I picked up the contract. Think they'll sign? They don't have a choice. You're their only option, and they know it. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. We'll sign, but I hope you're happy with what you've become. I showed Sylvia the message. She snorted. What you've become? You mean successful, independent, powerful? Exactly. I smiled, but it felt brittle. Everything they never wanted me to be. I turned back to my window, watching the city lights flicker on as dusk approached. Tomorrow they'd sign. Tomorrow the tables would finally turn. But Mom's words echoed in my head. I hope you're happy with what you've become. The truth was I wasn't sure how I felt about it either, but it was too late to turn back now. The conference room felt colder than usual as my family filed in the next morning. Mom's eyes were red-rimmed. Dad looked like he hadn't slept. And Travis just looked defeated. Sylvia laid out the contracts while I stood at the head of the table. Everything's in order, she said. Just need signatures. Before we sign, Travis spoke up, his voice hoarse. I want to know something. Why are you really doing this, Will? I told you someone has to know. He stood up, hands flat on the table. The truth. Is this revenge for the college fund? Sit down, Travis, Mom hissed. No, let him speak, I said. You want the truth? Fine. This isn't about revenge. This is about consequences. About finally facing reality instead of enabling more destruction. That's rich, he laughed bitterly. You standing there in your fancy suit, in your fancy office judging us. I earned this, I snapped. Every bit of it. While you were gambling away their retirement, I was working 80-hour weeks. While you were taking out loans you couldn't repay, I was studying law at night. Everything I have I built myself. Because you're so perfect. Because I had no choice. My voice cracked. You took my choices away, remember? All of you took my dream and threw it away like it meant nothing. Willow, Dad started. No, let me finish. I took a breath. You know what the worst part was? Not losing Stanford, not losing the money. It was realizing that to my own family, I would always matter less than Travis's next crisis. Silence filled the room like smoke. Sign the papers, I said quietly. Take the help I'm offering, or don't. But this is your last chance. Mom picked up the pen first. Her hand trembled as she signed. This isn't right, Travis muttered. What isn't right, Sylvia spoke up, is destroying your family's financial security for a gambling addiction. What isn't right is making your sister clean up your mess after stealing her future. Stay out of this, he snarled. Travis, Dad's voice was tired. Just sign the damn papers. One by one they signed. When it was done, Sylvia gathered the contracts. The rehab center is expecting you tomorrow morning, I told Travis. A car will pick you up at 8 a.m. And if I don't go, then Mom and Dad lose the house anyway. Your choice. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Mom started to follow, then turned back. Was it really so terrible? She asked. Growing up with us? No, Mom. Growing up was fine. It was being sacrificed for Travis that was terrible. We never meant to hurt me, to destroy my dreams, to make me feel worthless. I shook my head. But you did, and now here we are. Dad stood up slowly. You've made your point, Willow. You won. Are you happy now? This isn't about winning, Dad. This is about fixing what's broken. All of it. After they left, Sylvia touched my arm. You did the right thing. Then why does it feel so awful? Because you care. She squeezed my shoulder. That's what makes you different from them. You care enough to do the hard thing. My phone buzzed. A text from Tobias. Drinks tonight? You look like you need one. Go, Sylvia urged. I'll handle the paperwork. The bar was quiet for a Thursday. Tobias was already at our usual corner table. That bad? He asked as I slumped into a chair. Worse. I told him everything. You know what's crazy, he said when I finished? You're actually helping them, really helping them, not just enabling more problems. Try telling them that. They'll figure it out. Eventually he signaled for more drinks. Remember what Dad always says about tough cases? Sometimes the right decision feels wrong, until it proves itself right. Exactly. He raised his glass, to doing the right thing even when it hurts. I clinked my glass against his, but before I could drink, my phone buzzed again. Travis. What? I answered. I'll go, he said quietly. To rehab. I'll go. Something tight in my chest loosened slightly. Good. But not for you, he added quickly. For Mom and Dad, and for me, I guess. That's even better. A pause. I really messed up, didn't I? Everything. Everyone. Yes, I said softly. But maybe now you can start fixing it. After we hung up, Tobias raised an eyebrow. Progress. Maybe. I stared into my drink. Or maybe just another promise he won't keep. Only one way to find out. Yeah. I took a sip. Time will tell. And for the first time since this all began, I felt something close to hope. 3 months after Travis entered rehab, Mom called during my lunch break. He's doing well, she said, her voice cautiously optimistic. The counselors say he's making progress. That's good. I picked up my salad waiting for the other shoe to drop. He asked if you'd visit. There it was. I don't think that's a good idea. Please, Willow. He's really trying this time. Before I could respond, Sylvia burst into my office. Turn on the news. Now. I switched on the wall-mounted TV. Mom, I have to go. The headline made my blood run cold. Major law firm implicated in fraud scandal. Below it, a familiar name scrolled across the screen. That's impossible, I whispered. We handled their accounts. Emergency partner meeting in 5 minutes, Sylvia said grimly. The conference room was chaos, partners shouting over each other, associates hovering nervously by the walls. Mr. Mills stood at the head of the table, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Quiet, he commanded. The room fell silent. The Henderson Group has been charged with massive securities fraud. They're claiming we knew about it. That's ridiculous, I stood up. I handled their contracts personally. Everything was there saying you specifically signed off on fraudulent documents. The room spun. What? They're trying to save themselves, Tobias spoke up, throwing us under the bus. Willow, Mr. Mills said quietly, did you check every document they provided? Of course I stopped remembering. There had been so many papers, so many meetings. Had I missed something? My phone buzzed. Travis, not now. We need to review everything, Sylvia announced. Every contract, every email, every post-it note. Already on it, I pulled out my tablet. I kept copies of everything. Hours blurred into days. I barely left the office, surviving on coffee and determination. My phone kept buzzing. Travis, Mom, Dad. I ignored them all. On the 4th day, Tobias found me asleep at my desk. Go home, he ordered. You're no good to anyone like this. Can't. Almost found. Something's not right with these numbers. Willow. He took my coffee cup away. You need rest. What I need is to not lose everything I've built. The words burst out of me. Do you know what they'll do if this sticks? I'll be disbarred. Everything I worked for, gone. Just like your college fund, he finished gently. I laughed, slightly hysterical. Karma's a bitch, right? This isn't karma, this is corporate sharks trying to save themselves. He paused. Have you talked to Travis? What does Travis have to do with anything? He keeps calling the office, says it's important. Everything's important with Travis. My phone buzzed again. Travis, for God's sake answer it, Tobias said. I did. What? Well listen, the Henderson thing, I know something. I sat up straight. What are you talking about? One of the guys here in rehab, he used to work in their accounting department. He's been watching the news and he says he has proof they were cooking the books way before you got involved. Put him on. An hour later I burst into Mr. Mills's office clutching my phone. I've got it. Proof Henderson was committing fraud before they ever came to us. They doctored their books before presenting them. He looked up sharply. You're sure? My brother's rehab mate worked there. He kept copies of everything, original documents, altered versions, emails discussing the changes. He's willing to testify. Mr. Mills smiled for the first time in days. Your brother's rehab mate? Sometimes help comes from unexpected places, I said softly. That night, I finally went home. My phone buzzed. Travis again. Thank you, I said when I answered. Did it help? More than you know. A pause. I'm trying, Will. Really trying this time. I know. The counselor says I should make amends, real ones, not just words. I sank onto my couch. And I'm sorry for everything. The college fund, the house, all of it. I know sorry doesn't fix it, but no, I agreed. It doesn't fix it, but it's a start. Another pause. Will you visit, please? I closed my eyes thinking of karma and consequences of help from unexpected places. Next weekend, I said finally. I'll come next weekend. After we hung up, I stared at my reflection in the window. The woman who looked back wasn't the angry girl whose dreams were stolen, nor the cold lawyer seeking revenge. She was something in between, something still evolving. Maybe we all were. The rehab center looked more like a college campus than a medical facility. I sat across from Travis in the visitors' lounge, both of us clutching paper cups of mediocre coffee. You look good, I said and meant it. The haunted look in his eyes had faded. 4 months clean. He smiled slightly. Longest I've gone since college probably. Mom says you're doing well. Most days he fidgeted with his cup. Some days are harder, but I'm learning to deal with it. Actually deal with it, not just run away. A comfortable silence fell between us, the first in years. I found something, he said suddenly, pulling an envelope from his pocket, when I was cleaning out my old room at Mom and Dad's before coming here. My stomach tightened. What is it? Letters from Stanford. He slid the envelope across the table. From after we took your money. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside were dozens of letters spanning months, financial aid offers, work-study programs, alternative payment plans. They wanted me, I whispered. They were trying to help me find a way. Mom and Dad hid them. Travis couldn't meet my eyes. They said it would just hurt you more, seeing what you couldn't have. But really, they just didn't want you to leave. Why are you showing me this now? Because you deserve to know the whole truth about everything. He took a deep breath, including why they really took your college fund. My coffee went cold as Travis talked about Dad's gambling debts from years ago, about Mom's secret credit cards, about how my college fund hadn't just gone to Travis's gambling. It had gone to cover decades of family financial secrets. They used me as the scapegoat, he said quietly. Let you blame me because, well, I was already the screw-up. Right? Why didn't you tell me? Because I was guilty too. Maybe not of everything but enough. He ran a hand through his hair. Besides, would you have believed me back then? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Dad's number. Speaking of truth, Travis said, they know I'm telling you today. That's probably them now, I answered. Hello? Don't listen to him. Dad's voice was desperate. He's confused. The rehab is making him, is it true? I cut him off. Did you hide the Stanford letters? Silence. Did you use my money to cover your gambling debts too? Willow, please. I'm coming over, I said. Now. And this time, we're all going to tell the truth. I found them in their kitchen. My kitchen now, technically. Mom was stress baking, the counter covered in cookies no one would eat. Dad sat at the table looking small. Start talking, I said. They did. Everything Travis said was true and worse. Years of financial manipulation, lies piled on lies. My college fund had been their last resort, their final safety net, and they'd sacrificed me to save themselves. We never meant, Mom started. To get caught, I finished. That's the only thing you never meant to happen. What are you going to do? Dad asked. I looked around the kitchen where I'd grown up, where I'd done homework and baked cookies and dreamed of Stanford. Nothing, I said finally. Nothing. The house is still mine. The contracts stand. Travis stays in rehab. I stood up. But now I know the truth, and that's worth more than revenge. We did love you, Mom said softly. We still do. Love isn't enough, Mom. Trust is everything, and you broke that a long time ago. Back at my office, Sylvia found me staring out my window. That bad? Worse? I told her everything. Jesus, she whispered. What now? Now? I turned to face her. Now I keep the house, keep helping Travis, keep building my own life. Just like that? No, I smiled sadly. But I'm done letting their choices control my future. I've got my own path now. My phone buzzed. A text from Travis. Thank you for listening, for everything. You know what's funny? I said to Sylvia. All these years I thought getting revenge would fix everything, make me feel whole again. And now I realize the best revenge was never about hurting them. It was about healing myself. She hugged me tight. That's my girl. Another text came through from Mr. Mills. Dinner tonight? We need to discuss your future at the firm. Speaking of futures, I showed Sylvia the text. Wanna bet he's finally ready to make me senior partner? After how you handled Henderson, it's about damn time. I looked at my reflection in the window, remembering that broken girl whose dreams were stolen. She wasn't broken anymore. She was finally, truly free. Senior partner, Mr. Mills announced, raising his glass, the youngest in the firm's history. The private dining room at La Maison erupted in applause. Sylvia hugged me, Tobias whistled, and the other partners nodded approvingly. Speech, someone called out. I stood smoothing my dress. Thank you, all of you, especially you, Mr. Mills, for seeing something in that determined receptionist all those years ago. I saw myself, he said quietly. Someone hungry for success, not because of greed but because of necessity. My phone buzzed. Travis, sorry, I told the group. I need to take this. In the restaurant's quiet hallway I answered. Everything okay? Just finished my last therapy session, he said. 6 months clean today. Congratulations. The counselor thinks I'm ready to start working again. Actually, he hesitated. Remember that accounting degree I never finished? What about it? I'm going back. Online classes at first, but it's a start. That's amazing, Travis. I was thinking, he continued. Maybe when I graduate, I could help out at the firm, in the accounting department. I mean, I know I have to earn trust back, but one step at a time, I said gently. Focus on your degree first. Right, yeah. He paused. Mom and Dad asked about you. What did you tell them? The truth that you're doing great, that you're stronger than any of us knew. Back in the dining room, Mr. Mills was deep in conversation with Sylvia about the Henderson case. The evidence Travis's rehab mate provided had blown the case wide open, saving not just our firm but potentially dozens of investors. Speaking of Henderson, Mr. Mills turned to me. The SEC wants to know if you'll testify next month. Already prepared my statement. That's my girl. He smiled proudly. You know, I never had daughters, but if I did, my phone buzzed again. Mom, this time, a text. Saw your promotion in the paper. We're proud of you. If you ever want to talk, I showed Sylvia the message. You going to respond? She asked. Not tonight. I put the phone away. Tonight is about celebrating. Willow, Tobias called out. Tell them about the pro bono program you're starting. All eyes turned to me. It's nothing fancy, I said. Just a legal aid initiative for families facing foreclosure, free counsel, payment plans, addiction resources if needed. Turning your pain into purpose, Sylvia whispered. Something like that. Later, as the party wound down, Mr. Mills pulled me aside. You've come so far, he said, but something's still bothering you. I got everything I wanted, I admitted. Success, power, revenge. So why doesn't it feel complete? Because revenge is empty without forgiveness, not for them but for yourself. I thought about Mom's text, about Travis's recovery, about all the lies and truth between us. I can't forget what they did. No one's asking you to forget, but maybe it's time to write a new story, one where you're not the victim but the victor. My phone buzzed one last time. Dad, the house feels empty without you. Your old room is still here, always will be. I typed back, having dinner with my other family tonight, my chosen family. Maybe someday we can all have dinner together, but not yet. Baby steps, Mr. Mills said, reading over my shoulder. That's how empires are built. And families rebuilt? Sometimes. He squeezed my shoulder. But first you build yourself. The night air was crisp as we left the restaurant. Sylvia linked her arm through mine. So, senior partner, what's next? I looked up at the city lights, at the world of possibilities stretching before me. Next we help people. We build something meaningful. We turn all this power into purpose. And your family? They're part of my story, I said slowly. But they don't get to write the ending anymore. I do. My phone lit up with responses. Support from Travis. Understanding from Dad. Hope from Mom. Not forgiveness, not yet, but possibility. You know what the best revenge really is? I asked Sylvia. What's that? Living well, building something good from something broken, and choosing your own path no matter what anyone else planned for you. She hugged me tight. Now that's a revenge story worth telling. Above us, stars peeked through the city's glow, reminding me of that night years ago when I'd stared at my Stanford acceptance letter. I hadn't gotten that dream, but I'd built new ones, better ones, stronger ones, and this time no one could take them away. Because this time, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.